back, muses, to the Muses That Spark. Well, first of all, we are your hosts, Melanie and Athena.
Yeah.
And today your spark that we're gonna discuss is self-awareness.
And mindfulness.
So what I wanted to also mention.
Yeah, say.
So why would we start very early on about talking about mindfulness and awareness? So it is a very good base to start because our podcasts are a lot about mindset, lifestyle, positivity, energy, and your point of view in life. So if you are not self-aware, how are you able to change these things? How are you able to change your perspective in life? How are you able to change your thought process? You know, like, this is why we create our podcast. Yes, being self-aware is something I always had. It was always there, but I didn't notice it. For example, when I have a conversation with someone and they mention to me, yeah, you said this and it hurt me, I would be like, wow. Oh my god. And I would end up not even sleeping, thinking I should have done that differently, for example. I was so self-aware about my behavior that then years later on, if I met someone new, in the back of my mind, I would be like, watch out what you're saying, because you don't want to hurt someone like that. When it wasn't even that big of a comment, but it bothered me so much that I heard someone else saying it. At some point in my life, I was following a routine. I had no idea I had a routine, to be honest.
Unconscious.
Yeah, it was an unconscious routine. Waking up, go to school, go to work, go back home, and that's about it. Of course, there's more in the gist. You get the gist of it, basically. So I had a routine, and suddenly I met a guy, and I crushed super hard on him. He was a very handsome person, and I remember that when he broke it off with me, it triggered me very much, and in a way that I started doubting who I am.
Oh yeah.
I've never had that before. So when I told my when I came home, my aunt was visiting, and it was quite funny. It's I have multiple aunts, but I have two very important ones in my life. And she told me, "Why don't you come with me to my other aunt, and you're gonna have a day off? Just tell us what happened, you know."
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So I did. I told them what happened, everything, and they were like, "Do you want to change your life?" I had no idea. No, I had no idea that what they that would change my life, to be honest.
That moment.
That
it all
moment
started.
Yeah, it's insane. It's wow. That's 2 years ago already.
Wow.
2 years. So from that moment, they gave me this book. It's called The Secret. It's a very good book. I recommend it. It's all about the law of attraction and how you can visualize, for example, an item, and the next day you have that item, or visualize your life. And I never really, like, when I was younger, I always thought, this is what I want, this is what I want. And when when I got older, I suddenly forgot what I wanted. So I'm super happy that my aunt suggested this.
Yeah.
Like from age, I would say 8 till 18, like that's 10 years, I wanted to become an actress. I was so certain of it. So certain of it. And then suddenly, I don't even know what happened. It just stopped. That's not what I wanted. And after I read the book, my life completely changed. And I became aware of the way I walk, the way I talk, the way I think, how should I change thinking even? I came so aware of it. So for example, if I mention a situation and you would say, this is my point of view, then I would be so aware of the way how I thought in that certain pattern that I would say, why did that come up to you? Can you tell me your ways? Teach your ways. So yeah, that's for me actually what self-awareness actually really means.
Wow, but it inspires me that you came to your aunts came to you.
Yes.
You sat down and they were like, read this book.
Yeah.
It was just like that.
It was like that.
That changed everything.
Yes.
Like it's so weird that such tiny moments, if you are self-aware, it can just change.
Yes. And I feel like we are very aware lately.
Oh, we are. That's why we want to talk about it.
And the more and more aware we are, like it's so, sometimes you notice it on social media lately, it's a big topic of being aware of where you are at this moment, like right now.
Yeah.
You're breathing, how does your hands feel, but how more aware you become, how more things are changing.
Yeah.
Like, actually. And in a better way even.
Yeah, but it can also be that you're going through a challenging moment and that you don't understand why. Because you maybe thought about the good things, but sometimes change is needed. Yes. Sometimes it is really needed. Because if it doesn't change, you choose for that life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you really choose for it. So maybe if you are more self-aware about the life you're living right now, like we really are self-aware about that, and we know that we want to change, so we don't choose for the life that we maybe have lived 2 months ago, because we really want to change.
Yes.
But maybe you also want to change, but you are maybe afraid of some things.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and try to be more self-aware about, okay, what am I afraid of? I had a friend and I was talking to her, and I will not say names, but she has a dream.
Yes.
And
like a dream career, you mean?
Yeah, a career. But she's really afraid of things. And we had a talk, and she is aware of where she's afraid of. But when we talked, she said, like, this changed literally everything. Why? Because she mentioned it to me, not to herself. So maybe if you are talking to yourself and have like a chaotic life, talk to a friend, write it on a journal. Do something that can help.
Yes.
Go walk in nature and think about it. And maybe one little voice will tell you everything what you need to know.
Yes.
It's so weird.
It is very weird, and I want to come back to the part where you said being afraid, because we are talking very easily about it. Because, but that's because it took us quite long to be this aware. Like I said, for me it was 2 years. Now I feel like I'm on my peak, but every time I grow and learn more, I feel like I'm more on my peak. If I come back to 6 months ago, I'm thinking, wow, I'm such a different person. And it's very, it's unexplainable. It's an experience. And lately you also notice people saying a lot, this is not what I want, and this is not what I want.
Oh yeah, I had a moment.
That is actually really amazing.
That's really good.
I love that you say that. If you say it to yourself, to the mirror, to your friends, to your family, this is not what I want, that's the moment you can start and change everything, because that is already a spark of being aware.
Yeah,
it really is.
That's literally one spark at a time, what we always say. It is, because we had that talk, I think literally yesterday, that I said to you, I am done with what I'm doing right now. I have suffered enough right now. I want to change. And when I said it all started to come like in my head. It all the pieces just
It made
came.
sense.
Yeah, it made sense. You need to feel it.
It's a
certain
feeling.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I wanted to say. It is a certain feeling you can have.
Yeah.
And
it's a certain frustration.
Yeah.
That is for sure. Like, that's also what I mentioned to you yesterday. People, they are made for feelings, actually. They are made for feelings. So, everyone has them. But the moment you are frustrated about something, you're so done with it, people immediately think, oh, what is this outburst? What are you doing? Don't be so dramatic. No!
Why are you so stressed?
Why are you? No, but actually, what are you saying? It just is your mind calling out to you. Your mind is literally telling you, hello, I'm still here, and this is not what we wanted.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Yeah.
And it is quite I can imagine, it is quite a scary feeling though. But it can also be a very good feeling. Like, when you mentioned it to me, you were like, I'm so done! And like, literally you were saying it, and you said it so calmly even. And I was like,
calmly.
girl.
Oh, in my mind, it was that I was thinking, I'm screaming right now. I need to calm down.
No, but you don't need to calm down, because actually it's a breakthrough. It's the same if you do a lot of research about a certain topic, and at some point you're just like, oh, this is the answer to everything. Being done with something is actually an answer. It actually is.
It is, and I didn't find words for it, but if you feel it, you really feel it.
Yeah.
It's
I
have had it before that I said to everyone, I am done with how I'm acting, with what I'm doing. But for months, I've still been doing the same. Yeah. In my mind, I had a lot of changes, really small changes. I made plans, but for something, I don't know, it just didn't feel right at that moment to change really big. Yeah. And right now, I find the changes that come to my life are really big, but I'm ready for it. Yeah. But that's also because you notice it. Yeah. Like, for example, mindful. Yeah, you're mindful. Yeah. Exactly. Like, we were discussing this yesterday. Insane that yesterday's conversation was a lot about being mindful, and we did not realize it at all. It was, yeah. So as you noticed, we keep up bringing up conversations we had. The podcasts we're having right now are also thoughts we have on a daily basis. So, yeah, that's a little something to know about us. Yeah, to mention. But for example, before we met, like for me, I count my, I told you this yesterday as well, I count my old life back to April 2024, which was 6 months ago, a little longer than 6 months ago. Yeah, something like that. Yes, and before that, I just don't really count. Those are for once in a lifetime conversations, I guess. But if I look back at April and before we met, I felt like nothing has changed. I felt that way. So, because in April I had my last big breakthrough. That's when I realized I'm done. Yeah. So, I thought nothing changed. But then when we were talking, when we met, and I kept looking back at April, May, June, July, what I have done actually, and it was mostly mentally changing, a lot of mentally changing, and also actually physically. I had never before traveled that much, for example, and I wanted a career change, but instead of changing my career, I was traveling around, but I was doing something completely different. I'm gonna mention something that happened to me. When I came back from Italy, that was like the last trip I had. My aunt came to visit. My aunt lives quite far away from us, so I thought, alright, after she leaves, then I will look for a job. So I was looking for a job,
and I didn't get hired, which was so confusing to me because I always get hired. This is a little bit of a flex. I always get hired. So I was so confused. Why do I not get the jobs I apply for? I've never had that before. And then but the thing also was, I did not apply for many jobs. Like maybe 1, 2, 3 or something, but that has always been more than enough. But there are also people who apply for millions of jobs and don't get them. But I've never felt the feeling of, oh my god, what's going on?
Yeah.
And because I was kind of waiting for a reply, so I thought, it's fine, and let me just enjoy life a little more. But I was no longer on vacation, I was home. I was not doing anything. I was in the middle. Like, mentally I was doing a lot, but at some point everything stopped. I don't know how to describe it correctly, but everything stopped. You were like in a pause. And I remember at some point it not a lot. It was very painful and very scary. And I called a friend of mine. I told her, I started even crying. I never really cry. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
She told me, you changed so much in such a short lifespan that doing nothing right now is super scary. And I'm like, what? What does this mean? What does this mean? Because everyone always told me, you're doing too much, and now I'm doing nothing. And then my mind is like, you need to do something,
It's holding on to something. And I think this is so, like, this is such a good example because I had the same experience. And I think many of you have also the same experience. But at that moment, you really need to go not grieve, but find yourself. Like,
grieving and
yeah,
also meant,
it's such, because you're also hanging on your past life, but you also know I need to let go of my past life.
It's actually the state where you need to say goodbye to your past life.
Yeah, and that can be like grieving.
Yeah.
I've had the steps that you normally have if you grieve. It's so weird. First you get angry, you're like, what? Why? You get frustrated, you just don't understand.
You're being so angry to yourself.
Yeah. And then you get anxious and you're looking for something that isn't there, but you're still looking.
Yeah.
And then eventually you will accept. And when you accept, you can go further.
I love that you're mentioning this because it's exactly like I didn't even think of it
about it, right?
Yeah. Because I've been exactly through those steps, and now thinking back, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. But it are really stages you go through, and at that moment you don't realize it. It's so weird. If I'm talking about it, I'm also looking down at my back life and I'm thinking, I'm not the same person anymore.
No.
And you go through that thing like hundreds of times, but sometimes you get so much stress that it's such another experience.
Yes.
But that's also a key or a notification that you are mindful.
That's what I wanted to say. Yeah, like it reminds me of that little pause. Is actually because you became aware that this cannot continue.
Yeah.
The way you're living. At least for me, like I was traveling. It sounds like such a lovely life, and it was. It was lovely. But career-wise, I was not doing anything. And I needed to make money. Like I was spending it like a millionaire actually. I was spending it but nothing came.
But as you said, when you were traveling, mindset-wise, you were so growing. Could you tell me more about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really curious.
Well, first things first, I never solo traveled before this.
Yeah, okay. I want to pause this.
Yeah.
Solo traveling. Let us know down in the comments if you have done this. Because you have told me a story yesterday. I want to say something about that, but I really want to let you talk.
No, that's fine, you can say it.
That you said to me, there I've asked so many friends if they want to come with me.
Oh, right.
And eventually you did go alone, because nobody could, because of work, they were too busy, no money, etc., etc., etc. But when you post about it, when you let people know you were a solo traveler, what happened then? Just tell, please.
All right. I love this specific quote. And no joke, I invited 10 people. 10 people, because I was so afraid. I was so afraid. You had no idea. And I can imagine a lot of solo travelers, the first time doing it, they were so afraid. And I invited 10 people, and all of them declined. But then after, I got invited by 10 people to go traveling.
It's so weird, right?
It's just weird.
It is so weird. And when you said that, at first I didn't understood, because I understood that people didn't want to, well, not didn't want to go, but that they were like, okay, I need to work or something else. But then after you've done it, they want to go with you.
Yeah.
Why? You know, it got me thinking, why do they want to eventually go with you? You know?
Yeah.
It's just, my mind couldn't comprehend with that. It was so weird.
Yeah, the thing is, at some point I started to get a lot of comments also with, oh my god, you're traveling again, and oh, you're traveling again, and where are you going next, and wow, you're living the life I want. And I say, why don't you? I even asked, why don't you? If you want to travel, go for it. And then they gave me a whole list of excuses I did not ask for, actually. Of course I asked why not. And these excuses were so simple. They were so simple. But when, the thing is, I also made an excuse. I was like, I cannot solo travel.
And why not?
Because I was afraid. Well, yeah. I think it's not per se an excuse, but a reason. However, now looking back, I'm thinking all the excuses I made that caused me to become afraid, they were nothing. They were actually nothing. Like, for example, work, well, you can ask free, or you don't have money. Well, the thing is, I asked people months in advance, like months, so you can put money aside. Well, I'm not gonna say how you should live your life, of course, because for some people, like, saving money is a luxury, so not everyone can do this. But the thing is, I invited 10 people. It's not one or two I asked. There were 10 of them. So when at some point someone triggered me, saying I cannot travel alone, and the thing is, he was also a man, and for women it's a bit more scary also.
It is.
Well, I thought, hello, monsieur, I don't know what your name is, I don't remember. I said, if you want to travel, do it. And now everyone is saying, what was it like? And I say, it's an experience. I cannot tell you, I'm telling you how it was, but really the experience is so different. You have to experience it yourself. Because the explanation is nothing compared to the experience. Nothing.
Okay, so I was going to Spain, and it was for school. It is an internship, so you need to learn there.
Just for the English people, maybe traineeship. Like they don't really have internship. I don't know. Someone told me this.
Oh, really? It's a bit different. Oh,
but I think both.
I think
you guys know we're students that work for school, something like that.
Exactly. But this thing was outside of our country, so I did go to Spain all alone. I had no one from my class, and there were people going only because they had people from their classes which go with them. Well, I've never had a problem to go alone, but this was in a different country, so I did go there. But the experience, literally, you meet so many people if you go alone.
Absolutely.
You need to communicate with someone.
Yes.
You can just lock yourself up. I had the privilege that I need to work there, so I had colleagues I could speak to, but they spoke only Spanish, and I spoke only English or Dutch, and the communication was also hard. But in those months, I learned Spanish, and I could talk to them. And I think if you want something, if you really want to go solo traveling, or if you really want to have an experience in your life, choose for it. Change it. Go for it. There's no excuse, what you also say, that's compared to the cost, or your fears, or anything. Because if there's a snake, you think, oh, it will bite me. But does it? Does it bite you? You never know. If you don't try it, really.
But I agree.
you were laughing, but I'm like, yeah.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. I was just, in my head, I was thinking I never met a snake. So
No,
I was like,
but today, literally before we were recording, I saw TikTok or reels from Instagram, and they were setting babies on the ground with snakes.
Oh.
And the mothers and the fathers aside. To see if babies or, little humans are afraid of snakes. They weren't. They were touching it. They were literally biting in those snakes.
Wow, really?
Literally.
Whoa.
Because they don't see the fear.
No.
They only see the fear if they see their mothers or their fathers reacting a certain way. Then they will also react that way.
That makes sense.
So that's why I was talking about the snake, because
I love this.
Yeah.
I love that you're mentioning this, because if we go back to the circle of being self-aware, this really shows the way you are, for example, scared of something or handle a situation in a certain manner. It could be something you caught up during your time of growing. It could be a reaction not even from yourself. It could be a reaction you saw someone else do and you copied it unaware, and now you're doing it, for example. So with me, with the traveling, why I was so afraid is because I was actually so afraid of what my parents would think of me traveling alone.
Yeah.
Because I'm the princess at home. I'm the favorite daughter. I'm the only daughter. The only daughter. But I was so afraid what my parents would think if I told them. And I remember when I was in Paris and I told them I'm going with friends somewhere, and I said my friends could not go, and I said I would go alone. They were so afraid immediately. But because I already traveled alone before, I learned myself it's not that bad. Of course they're allowed to be scared. Of course. That makes sense.
Yeah, and they also need to feel their feelings.
They are allowed to feel their feelings, but I was not agreeing.
I was like,
okay, this is not what I wanted to talk about. I wanted you to enjoy the view I was showing them. I was FaceTiming them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something. And if I did not learn this, if I called them and told them before traveling, I will travel alone, they would probably have held me back even. And that's not their fault. They're just doing their job, being their parents and being afraid of who will hurt their child, you know? And
can I pause you at that? Because I think parents is such a topic that everyone will have. Or not everyone, but your caregiver or anything. Someone who is besides you, who really cares about you. Who can stop you at things.
Who can, you mean?
Yeah, who can.
Yes.
Who can talk to you in a certain way that you will believe them. And stop you at certain paths.
Well, to be honest, I think that every person you meet in life can do that.
Exactly, yeah.
Everyone. Even you and me. Yeah. Because, for example, if I come with an idea, and my friend, would say, what kind of idea is that? If I decided that would hurt me, so I think that's a nice catch on love detachment we will talk about another time. But if I were attached to their comment, I would doubt my idea completely.
Exactly.
This person is close to me, but even if a stranger would, most people, when a stranger comes with a comment, they would think, whatever, which makes sense. That's very good. You're doing
Throw
it
it away.
Yeah, because who are they?
Yeah, exactly.
Who are they? They're a stranger.
And still, they can also hurt you.
Of course.
Still.
Because, they did say it out loud. It happened. But the thing is also, it did not happen.
Mm-hmm.
The people I talked to yesterday.
Yeah,
well,
it's not today.
We're here right now.
Yeah. It's not today.
It's not today. So, and even today is gonna end at some point, So, that's what I want to give you guys.
Yeah.
The idea of self-awareness and a little bit about our story and how we experienced it.
Yeah, and I hope telling our story can also
Inspire?
Yeah, inspire you, and if you also do something with our information, because we can talk like hundreds of hours, but if you don't do something with it,
Like the thing is, where are your muses?
Mm-hmm.
But you are also our muses, so
Yeah.
show us what inspired you to change, what happened, just listening to this is already a step further of being self-aware and mindful.
Yeah, it is. No, it really is. And I would love to hear from you what you loved today about the topics we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can show or let us know what was your spark from like a mindfulness spark or something that happened in your life that changed everything. And were you afraid of it?
Yes. And if we missed out on something, do mention it in the comments. If you notice this made me very self-aware, or this is also a trigger that can make you mindful, do tell in the comments, because we can learn also so much from you guys.
And we read everything.
Yes.
We're so excited. And just to let you know, you are already perfect as you are, but as I said before, you're choosing your life. So if you want to change it, or if you are perfectly fine with your life, don't change it, but choose what you want.
Yes,
that's
absolutely
what I want to say.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree. We want to thank you so much for listening, but also this topic can be quite a difficult one. I think for a second episode we chose quite a difficult topic.
It was fiery.
Yes,
It was a lot of fire.
I hope it enlightened your spark and be like, even if you think, what are they talking about? We hope that triggered you to become self-aware. That's not how I would have said it, for example. Well, please, if you would have said it differently, please, fine, tell us. It's amazing. It's I think the way we also talk with our viewers, we are very self-aware of what we are doing.
We are, and I love to hear more, and I'm so thankful that we chose this, because really it was really a difficult topic.
Yes,
I found really difficult because we are talking a lot about it behind cameras.
Yeah, I think it's also a quite big topic.
Yeah, and we really want to say it good and that you understand it, and it's sometimes it's hard to say it in words, but I think we did a really great job.
Yeah, we mentioned it a few times as well. It's really more about an experience than how we explain it.
Yeah.
But the explanation, we hope that it helps you maybe become aware that maybe you've experienced it.
Yeah.
Maybe you haven't yet and you're about to. Or maybe this is the moment you're like, hold on, it's happening right now.
Yeah.
Yes. And
if you have something you want to talk about to us, you can always send us a DM or maybe just a private one, and we will try to respond, of course.
Yeah, it's amazing. And remember, one
spark
at a time. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Bye.